The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone. This is Beth Glasanos Rivera. I just wanted to welcome you and thank you for tuning in this morning. This concept for this particular webinar came out of a couple of our quarterly New York MEP marketing calls from last year, in which we were really seeking feedback about various areas where MEP centers were seeking more knowledge or a deeper dive in growing our marketing efforts. And I'd heard from a couple of centers that SEO strategy would be a worthwhile subject area. And so that's where we decided to begin. So after the webinar, I hope to hear your feedback and always welcome other ideas for building our marketing toolbox. We have Marketing Mannix here Mannix Marketing here today to provide us with a webinar. So without further delay, I'll let Jessica and Jennifer of Mannix get started. Thanks for joining today.
Great, thank you, Beth. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jennifer Manns at Mannix Marketing. I am really excited to introduce you to Jessica Tracy. She is our Senior Digital Marketing Strategist at Mannix Marketing. And before we dive into the presentation, I just wanted to go over a couple of housekeeping notes with you. At the end of the webinar, about within the week, Fuse Hub will be sending out a link to this recording as well. So if you had to come in a little later, if you weren't able to make it, we will have that recording for you. Everyone is going to be in listen-only mode, which means you're going to be muted during the session just to avoid any additional feedback on the webinar. And you are all encouraged to ask questions that come up when Jessica is presenting. There is a chat feature at the bottom of your screen that you can use, and then what we'll do is at the end of the presentation we will answer some of those questions that come up. And without further ado, I'll let Jessica take it away, and again, thanks so much for watching.
All right, thanks so much. So hi everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today's webinar is about digital marketing and SEO for the New York Manufacturing Extension Partnership. So during the webinar, we're going to go over what search engine optimization is and why it matters for your MEP. We're also going to go over actionable strategies for improving your organization's online presence, touching on content marketing, website optimization tactics, social media, and more. So let's get going. So I wanted to start by introducing myself. As Jennifer mentioned, my name is Jessica Tracy. I'm a digital marketing strategist at Mannix Marketing, which is a digital marketing agency in Glens Falls, New York. We do search engine optimization, website design, social media marketing, and digital marketing for organizations in a variety of industries, locally and throughout the US. And I've been at Mannix for a few years now. And since I've been here, I've worked with a number of B2B and manufacturing clients, and my colleagues here have also worked with various manufacturing businesses and B2B businesses. So we've developed a pretty good sense of what works for companies in this field and what doesn't work in terms of SEO and online marketing. So today, for you guys, I'm going to go over what search engine optimization is and why it matters when it comes to marketing your businesses to manufacturers, how to know if you need SEO for your business, what SEO can do for your business, and I'll also share some strategies that can help you optimize your website and better market your services online. So first up, let's talk about SEO. What exactly is search engine optimization? And if you don't know what SEO is, don't feel bad. When I tell people I'm a digital marketing strategist that works on SEO, I get lots of confused looks, so don't feel bad. I'm going to start by giving you the definition of SEO, and then we're going to break that down to the basics to make it a little more digestible. So here's the definition. SEO is a multifaceted strategy focused on increasing your business's organic visibility on the web. It involves a variety of tactics, including developing consumer and search engine-friendly content, assigning accurate and thorough metadata, implementing concise, fast-loading code, designing site elements that will attract and convert customers, and more to help your website effectively showcase your business and connect with the consumers you're looking for. So that's kind of a really big, intimidating definition. Let's break that down a little bit. So there are 5 basic elements within this definition that you really need to care about at this point. And so I've highlighted those elements in green here, and we're going to go through them one by one. So the first thing you need to care about is the fact that SEO is a multifaceted strategy. This basically means that there are lots of elements that contribute to an optimized website. So we're going to discuss some of the specific elements a little bit later, but for now it's important to just recognize that there are numerous things that contribute to a website's search engine optimization. The next key component of the definition of SEO that you need to focus on is increasing organic visibility. So that basically means making a site more visible online to the people who are looking for what you have to offer, specifically in ways that don't involve paid online advertising. The next key piece of the definition is variety of tactics. This essentially means that there are a number of things you can do to improve your website's performance in the search engines. And we're going to go over some of the most important tactics as we move forward with the webinar, so stay tuned for that. So those are the first three components of the definition that you really want to hone in on at this point. And then the last two key elements of the definition kind of go together, and they really make up the why of SEO. So they help to define why SEO is so important for businesses. The first of these last two is to help your website effectively showcase your business. So if you want your customers to find you online and you want your website to work effectively as a tool that shows consumers what you have to offer, SEO is really important. And realistically, you can't showcase your business via a website without some amount of SEO at work for you. And then the second of these last two is to connect with the consumers you're looking for. So when it comes down to it, SEO is really all about developing relationships. It's about developing relationships with the customers you're looking to do business with and the businesses who are looking for the services you have to offer. So businesses invest in SEO because it helps customers to find them and get to know them and then ultimately connect with them. And though it can seem really technical and kind of overwhelming, when you really break SEO down, it's all about connecting people. So now that we have a better sense of what search engine optimization is, how do you know if your business needs it? A good place to start is by asking yourself a few questions. So I've put together 5 key questions to start with as you try to determine how to know if your business needs SEO. So the first question is your business hard to find online? So are the people and organizations who are looking for what you have to offer able to find your website when they're searching online? Question number 2 is, are you unhappy with where your site is ranking in the search engine results? So when you search online for the services and products your business is offering, are you disappointed with where your website is showing up on the result pages? And another important factor to consider is, are your competitors showing up ahead of you? Question number 3, would you like to increase organic traffic visiting your website? So if you're tracking your site visitors through Google Analytics or another analytics program, and you find yourself wishing that more people would visit your website on a regular basis, that's probably a good indication that SEO could help you. Question number 4, do you want to increase leads coming in through your website? So in other words, would you like more of the potential customers who reach the site to convert to leads? So this could be filling out a form on the site, requesting a quote through the site, signing up for your email newsletter, whatever it is that you're hoping for people to do on your site. If you wish more people were taking action, SEO can help. And question number 5, do you wish that your website was more user-friendly? So maybe your site lacks content, maybe visitors are reading one page and leaving before they really get to know your business. Maybe your site's just generally less appealing and attractive than you'd like it to be. Maybe you like your competitors' sites better than yours. Whatever it might be, if you wish your site was more user-friendly, SEO is probably a good investment for your business. So now I want you to just take a second on your own to really think about these questions within the context of your own business and determine if any or maybe all of these issues are a concern for you. If one or more of these things has crossed your mind, then SEO is probably a good option for your business. So to give you a sense of the difference that SEO can make for B2B and manufacturing businesses, I wanted to share a few real-life examples of B2B clients who've had success with search engine optimization. First up is American Heating Company. So American Heating designs and manufactures industrial heating solutions for plants and facilities in a bunch of industries around the world. And they reached out to us at Mannix Marketing with the ultimate goal of modernizing their online presence, growing their visibility in the search engines, and attracting more leads online. After completing a website redesign to update their online presence, we started an SEO program to help them connect with potential customers. And about 1 year after launching their new website and kicking off the SEO program, American Heating Company had already experienced dramatic growth in terms of traffic and leads. Traffic from search engines like Google and Bing increased by 51%. Page views increased by 37%. Conversions through the website nearly tripled, and time on site increased by 28%. And during 2017, they noted that most of their new customers were actually finding them through their website and online presence, as opposed to the way they used to find them, which was word of mouth. So SEO made a huge difference in how AHC was generating business. Next up is CT Mail. CT Mail is an engineering, surveying, architecture, and landscape architecture firm, and they serve a diverse mix of public and private clients in the municipal, state, federal, commercial, and industrial markets. They worked with us to redesign their site a while back, and they've been running an SEO campaign with us for about 3.5 years. And over the years, their SEO campaign has provided them with some pretty impressive results. Since they started the program, they've seen a 51% increase in organic traffic visiting the site, a 56% increase in form completions on their site, and in the last year alone, they've actually seen a 34% increase in page views throughout the site. And towards the end of 2017, we made some adjustments to their homepage to better showcase the variety of services that they offer. And since then, they've seen an average of a 32% increase in traffic to those specific service pages. So in the long term and in the short term, SEO has had quite an impact for them. And our third and final example is Coke Incorporated. They are an industry-leading manufacturer of material handling, safety, and construction equipment, and they sell to businesses across the US. They came to Mannix wanting to increase traffic and convert site visitors into leads and sales. And so we implemented an ongoing SEO program to help them try and reach those goals. And over the course of the program, they saw a 165% increase in overall website traffic, a 15% increase in phone inquiries and in session duration, and a 6-fold increase in sales for one of the key products they had placed a major focus on. So those are just a few examples of how SEO has made a difference for B2B businesses and businesses in the manufacturing industry. And though results do take time, investing in SEO has made a pretty substantial impact for these businesses. So how can you work towards getting results like these? By implementing SEO on your website. If you've never implemented an SEO program before, you're probably wondering, where do I even begin? And it probably feels like a pretty daunting task. So at this point, I'm going to walk you through 11 on-site SEO basics that you can implement to get started with improving your website from an optimization perspective. And be sure to stick around to the end, because I also have a couple of easy off-site bonus strategies that I'm going to mention. So if you want to get started right away with getting your business ahead of the game, you're not going to want to miss those. So as we talked about earlier, there are dozens and dozens of SEO strategies, and there are so many elements that impact how your site performs online among users and search engines. So what we're going to focus on today is how to get started with SEO for your website. And I'm going to go over 11 basic fundamental things you can implement on your existing site to help it perform better among users and within search engines. So the first two strategies we're going to talk about are key items you want to ensure are implemented on your site. And the first of these items is HTTPS. So what exactly is that? HTTPS is a secure layer on your website, and it helps to protect the integrity of the site and to ensure the privacy and security of website users. Converting sites to HTTPS has been highly recommended for a while now to increase security, but in 2017, Google and other search engines actually started to use HTTPS as a ranking factor. So that means that ensuring that your site is converted over to a secure site can actually give your site a search engine optimization boost. Implementing HTTPS will probably involve working with your server administrator. So just to kind of point you in the right direction, the best way to start this process is to contact the person or company that hosts your website and work with them to convert it over to a secure site. Our next strategy is mobile friendliness. So like HTTPS, mobile friendliness is another factor that Google takes into account when it comes to ranking websites. At this point in time, believe it or not, most people actually access websites from mobile devices like phones and tablets as opposed to viewing them on desktop computers. So because of this, it's important to make sure that your website is set up to be responsive, or in other words, that it's been designed to resize and reformat automatically depending on how it's being viewed. Because the search engines are focused on showcasing sites that provide users with the best user experience, and because mobile-friendly, responsive websites provide that experience on phones and tablets, you really want to make sure that your site is mobile-friendly. A non-mobile-friendly website will have a hard time performing well from an SEO perspective, even if other elements that contribute to SEO are in place. So this is something you really want to prioritize. If your site isn't responsive, it's a good idea to work with your website designer to make it responsive. And if it actually can't be converted to a responsive design, you might actually want to consider redesigning your site because this is such an important factor. Having a secure site and making sure it's mobile friendly are two of the most fundamental ways that you can improve your website's SEO friendliness. And at this point, they are pretty much mandatory if you want your site to perform well. So once those aspects are in place, there are lots of additional on-site efforts you can make to further enhance your site's SEO. We're going to go over quite a few of them, and they're all fundamental SEO strategies, but I'm not necessarily listing them in any particular order or in order of priority, so just keep that in mind. The best stepping off point to delve into all of these elements is by performing keyword research. So, strategy number 3, perform keyword research. Keyword research will guide your overall SEO efforts, and it's going to inform some of the strategies that we talk about next. So having a well-researched targeted keyword list is very important if you want to be successfully found online. The keywords on the list you come up with will be infused into site content and metadata, and they're also going to help to define what your website is about, both for consumers and for the search engines crawling your site. So how do you assemble that keyword list? There's no one right way to do it, but I do have a few suggestions to get you headed off in the right direction. So to create your keyword list, you want to come up with a list of keywords, phrases, and questions that potential customers might search when they're looking for the solution that you or your business has to offer. And there's no right number of keywords to have on a list, but I like to start with between 30 and 50 and then add as I continue on with my SEO program. But again, that will vary. So if you don't have 30 to 50 keywords right off the bat, that's totally fine. You can start focusing on a smaller group and grow as you go. I recommend starting off by asking yourself, as a consumer, what would I search for online if I were looking for what my business has to offer? And after asking that question, start making a list of the search terms and phrases that you come up with. Frequently asked questions are another good starting point for keyword research. So think about the questions customers ask that you have the answers to. Those questions and queries often make good target keywords and phrases. Another keyword research strategy I like is to look at what your competitors are ranking for that might be relevant to you. It's also important to keep long tail keywords and phrases in mind because voice search is becoming much more prominent. So rather than typing in, for example, industrial hot oil heaters, consumers might be verbally asking Siri or Alexa or Cortana who has the longest lasting industrial hot oil heater on the market. So adding that longer phrase, longest lasting industrial hot oil heater, might be very beneficial. Another great free way to get help with keyword research is to check out Google's search suggestions, which show up down at the bottom of search results to help you come up with related keywords. So in this example that you'll see on the screen, I searched the term hot oil heater, and Google provided me with a whole list of associated terms right down at the bottom of the search engine results page. So this is a great way to come up with additional relevant keywords for your keyword list. Tools can also be really helpful when it comes to keyword research and then managing the keywords after you've developed your list. I like SpyFu for keyword research. It gives you some information about search volume, so it'll tell you a little bit about how many people are searching a keyword. It can also give you some insight about what your competitors are doing in terms of keywords. So if you're serious about SEO, I definitely recommend checking that out. And then in terms of managing and monitoring keywords, AWR is my favorite program. It helps you keep track of how your site is performing for the keywords you care about. It will tell you how much you've moved up or down in the search engine rankings. It will let you know how you're ranking in various different search engines like Yahoo or Bing or Google. So that's also worth looking into if you're serious about implementing SEO for your site. So let's move on to strategy number 4, optimizing headings and subheadings. Search engines use headings and subheadings to interpret what a page is about, just like site visitors do. And if you've heard of H1s, H2s, H3s, and so on, those are actually headings and subheadings. That's also how they're referred to. And they're helpful for making content accessible to readers and SEO friendly. So keeping that in mind, it's important to make sure that the content and pages throughout your site are using headings and subheadings that are infused with keywords. So I like to optimize content with headings and subheadings with the reader specifically in mind. So as you can see on the screenshot on the right, the content is divided up into subsections with headings and subheadings that make it easier for the reader to review the copy and find what they're looking for quickly. So I recommend thinking about how you can make the content easily skimmable for the reader and help them find the information they're looking for within the body of the text. And adding relevant headings can really help. I also recommend working relevant keywords and phrases into headings and subheadings, but be sure not to overstuff them, so they need to feel normal and natural when you read them. And if you use a content management system like WordPress for your website, adding headings and subheadings is pretty easy to do right in the back end of the site where you edit the content. Strategy number 5, optimize titles. So titles are another opportunity to infuse keywords within your website. HTML titles are important because they're typically shown to searchers on the search results pages. They're another great place to add keywords you're targeting with your SEO campaign. And highlighted in green on this slide here is where your HTML titles will pull in on the search engine results pages. Well-optimized page titles have actually been shown to increase click-through rates. Plus, they're another factor that can help search engines understand what a specific page on your site is all about. So they're another really important place you want to focus your optimization. You want to make sure that all of the pages on your site have accurate, well-optimized titles. And keep in mind that it's important to avoid duplicate or repeating titles for pages on your site too. So you want to make sure your titles are infused with keywords, unique, and accurate based on the page that you're working on. Next up, we're going to talk about optimized meta descriptions. So meta descriptions are another place where you can include a bit of well-optimized keyword-infused copy to explain to both the search engines and the users what that specific page on your site is all about. Meta descriptions are the little bit of metadata that's displayed to users right below the HTML page titles in the search engine results, as you can see here highlighted in green. And you want to use meta descriptions as an opportunity to tell users what your page is about and entice them to click. You don't want to mislead them, because if you do, they might bounce right off your page, which can actually hurt you from an SEO perspective. But you do want to make that text enticing and accurate to encourage them to click. The length of the ideal meta description has evolved and changed many times, but currently it's recommended that meta descriptions should be about 300 characters long. So that's a good thing to make a note of as you're optimizing your site. And depending on the type of website you have, where you edit the titles and meta descriptions will vary. If you have a WordPress site, I recommend using the Yoast plugin, Y-O-A-S-T, to help you manage titles and meta descriptions. That can really simplify the process. Next up is strategy 7, add calls to action. So calls to action are really important because they provide site visitors with direction as to what to do once you have them on your website. So if you want customers to contact you by phone, if you want them to fill out a contact form, if you want them to request a quote, if you want them to sign up for your newsletter, your site has to encourage them and guide them as to how to do so. And it needs to be really clear and easy. Effective calls to action throughout a website can help to encourage qualified leads, and it'll help you take the next step when it comes to connecting with the customers you're trying to reach. So this is very important when it comes to converting site visitors and browsers to potential leads. So calls to action are really easy to add within the text on your website. And as you can see here in this screenshot, we've worked a clear call to action right into the conclusion of this blog post. And we made the 2 actions very clickable, so it takes minimal effort for the customer to take the next step. So they can either click on the phone number from their mobile device and make a phone call right away, or they can click the request a quote online link, and that will take them right to a page where they can submit their information to American Heating. Calls to action can actually also be added as buttons on site, as you can see here in the top right. So if you want to make sure you take advantage of the opportunity to give users guidance, because they want to be told what step to take next. So the next strategy we're going to talk about is interlinking. And interlinking is linking between related pages and resources on your website. Site visitors use these links to move between pages on the site, and search engines use them to discover other content on your site and to pass authority to other internal pages. So if you cover a variety of related topics, linking between those pages or posts can be a really good idea. So when you're interlinking, you want to be sure that you use relevant anchor text, which is the actual text on the page that's hyperlinked. Including relevant keywords within anchor text is a really good idea, and you can see some examples of this on the slide. So for instance, the very first link includes the words hot oil heating systems, which is actually one of the focus keywords for the page that the link leads to. You also want to make sure, just like with keywords, that you don't overdo interlinking, as pages with too many links can look spammy and can actually be detrimental to your SEO. So this page specifically doesn't have too many interlinks at this point, but it's bordering on it because it's an FAQs page where each link leads the visitor to more information about that specific topic. It works well, but you want to make sure that you don't overload your page with links, as that can look very spammy. So I have 2 ways to use interlinking to kind of help you get started and get a sense of how this can help you. The first is if you want to increase time on site or decrease bounce rate, You can include links to related resources at the end of pages or posts to keep people interested and give them an easy place to go next instead of leaving the site. And then secondly, if you have a page that doesn't have quite as much traffic as you'd like it to, try linking to that page if it's relevant from another highly trafficked page to help drive more people to that underperforming page. So there's lots of ways to use interlinking. Those are just two that can help you really take your SEO to the next level. So the next strategy we're going to cover is adding image alt text. So alt text is the text within the metadata on your site that explains what's being depicted in an image on your site. It's another place where you can infuse keywords, though the focus really needs to be on describing the image accurately. Alt text is also really important when it comes to making websites accessible to visitors of all abilities. It can also help your site to earn additional visibility within image search results. So as you can see here in the bottom right, the image alt text on this image has helped one of our site's images to show up towards the top of Google's image results. And this can help to drive additional traffic to the website. I recommend working through the image gallery on your site and adding alt text to all of the images that are included. That can be really beneficial, and it's another pretty easy, basic way to optimize your site. Strategy number 10, improve load speed. So page load speed became a factor in the Google search ranking algorithm back in 2010, I think. But it's also very important from a user perspective. So think about how impatient you get while you're waiting for a slow site to load. It's pretty likely that you're going to leave and look for that information elsewhere if the site you initially tried to load doesn't load quickly enough. So if your business's website is the one that's loading slowly, that's definitely something you want to take a look at. There are lots of factors that can impact load speed, and a good way to learn about the different factors that are impacting a page is by running your site through Google's PageSpeed Insights tool. And I would definitely make a note of this tool. Basically, you enter a web page URL and you click Analyze, and it will give you some information about the page speed factors that could be improved on that page of your site. And just to give you a sense of some of the things you might see, one thing we see pretty regularly is very large images on sites that take a long time to load. Downsizing those images is one way you can really help your site's load speed. You also want to have fast loading clean website code on the back end of your site. So sometimes sites will get flagged for that. And in many cases, fixing those load speed issues involves working with your programming or development team. But again, it's well worth it if your page loads faster and helps you attract more business. So the last on-site strategy we're going to talk about today is content creation. And if you've been kind of listening in to conversations that are happening about SEO, you've probably heard the phrase content is king. And this has been true for a long time, and it hasn't changed. It's still very much the case. The content on your site is so important. Having relevant content, especially content providing the information that potential customers are looking for, is imperative to having a successful website that performs well within the search engines. So basically, content gives you a place to implement all of these SEO strategies that we've been discussing. It also helps search engines and site visitors to understand what your organization is about and what you have to offer. So with that in mind, if you want to be found for a service or product, you must have content on your website about that service or product. There's really no way around it. Website content is also a good place to answer customer questions and provide information that potential customers might be looking for. So you don't just want salesy content, you also want informative, educational content that your customers can turn to when they're looking for resources. This can help you establish as an authority and a thought leader that businesses can really rely on. And for this reason, I really highly recommend blogging, even for business-to-business organizations, because it helps to keep your site up to date and it gives you an additional opportunity to provide more extensive educational information to site visitors. Content can also fuel the promotion of your business elsewhere, so off your site, because it gives you information to share on Facebook, LinkedIn, through email newsletters, and so on. So because content provides so many opportunities, if you're hoping to improve your online presence, reviewing your content is a really good place to start. In terms of implementing a content strategy, I recommend starting out by going through existing content on your site to make sure that it's optimized, accurate, and comprehensive. And as you're doing that, look for gaps in the content that's on your site and make a plan for resolving those gaps. So start a running list of topics you think you're missing and start including any common customer questions you receive and start generating a list and a plan for filling in the gaps in the content on your site. Next, I would say make a plan for adding this new content to the site, and I would prioritize the topics or services or products or whatever it might be that you want to be found for the most that are not yet covered on the site. And then as you continue work on site content, keep this strategy up to date. So add new topics or ideas as they come up, add frequently asked questions that you hear from customers and clients, and then reprioritize things as necessary to cover all the topics, keeping the most important ones at the top of the list. Having a content strategy in place is so important for fueling a successful ongoing SEO program for your website, and it really should be a focal point of your SEO plan. So the tactics we've talked about so far are all on-site SEO strategies, so SEO elements that you can implement right on your website. But I did want to talk about a couple of off-site foundational SEO strategies that can be helpful as you're getting started with optimizing your business's online presence. So the first of those strategies is ensuring that your business's NAPs are up to date and accurate throughout the web. So NAPs are your business's name, address, and phone number listings. Whether they're in online directories or business listings, or maybe on your site's Google My Business profile or your social media accounts, it's important that your NAPs are up to date and accurate. And consistency is key here. So all of the listings should contain the same information. This is going to help give your business more authority online, but it's also going to help customers find you effectively no matter where they find you online. So here are a few tips for updating your NAPs. First, decide the NAPs information that you want to publicize, that being what you want your business to be called, how you want the name formatted, which phone number you want to use, what the correct business address is, and so on. Decide on that information first. Next, review all the accounts, listings, directories, social media profiles, and so on that you manage to ensure that all the NAPs match. And then finally, I recommend reaching out to the other places where your business is listed and requesting NAPs updates as needed. Now, this can be a pretty time-consuming process, but it's definitely something worth reviewing because it does contribute to the search engine optimization of your business online. And then the final strategy we're going to talk about today is a second bonus offsite optimization strategy utilizing social media. So, as you probably know, social media is another good way to connect with potential customers and grow your business's presence online. And some social media platforms are very much geared for fostering B2C connections. And while it's not a bad idea to have a Facebook page for your business, if you are a B2B business, I would recommend prioritizing building up your presence on LinkedIn. So you can start by setting up a company page if you haven't already, and then try to keep the page up to date by sharing content regularly. If you have blog content on your website, that's a really good place to start when it comes to sharing content. You can also experiment with posting in groups. Now keep in mind this has to be done on an individual level, so you can't post in a group as an organization, but you can have representatives from your company post relevant content in industry groups. And that can help you to connect with potential clients and customers from other businesses, and it can help you to get conversations started on the LinkedIn platform. Keep an active profile on social media can help to build brand awareness, and it can help to show that your business is a thought leader in your industry. So that's also very important. And it's a really good way to build authority and to give your business another platform to connect with customers and to drive traffic to your website. So that's it, a handful of strategies to get you started when it comes to improving your business's online presence through SEO. So remember, what we covered today are the fundamentals, and they're a really good place to begin. But keep in mind, there are many additional SEO strategies you can use as well. So if you're wanting to successfully market your business and connect with customers online, investing in SEO is definitely a must. And if you don't want to take on SEO for your website yourself, there are agencies like ours that can help you. So our team offers search engine optimization services where we can work on your website to improve it from an SEO perspective. We also offer SEO blueprints where we'll review a lot of the elements we talked about today and a bunch of others from an SEO perspective, and then give you recommendations and ideas for how you can improve your online presence. So if you're interested in learning more about SEO, if you have questions as you're implementing some of the strategies we talked about today, or if you want to work with us to get an SEO program in place for your business, don't hesitate to reach out. My name and email address are here on this final slide, so be sure to make a note of that if you want to follow up. And now I think we're going to take a few minutes to answer some questions if you guys have any.
Great, thank you, Jess. We did have a couple of questions come in, but if anyone else has any questions that they would like to have answered, please use the chat function below. The first question that came in is, how can I search for what keywords my competitors are ranking for?
So that's one of the places where SpyFu really comes in handy. So if you're looking for a tool to do that, I highly recommend looking there. And I also like to search for keywords that maybe I think I want to rank for, and see if any of my competitors are showing up for those as well. And then if you click on some of the related keywords down at the bottom when you're doing those searches, that's another good way to find keywords that maybe your program is missing that competitors have honed in on.
And I'll add one more thing to that. I think when I am looking at a competitor's website, I will look at their titles and look at their headers and see if there are some keywords that you can tell that they're trying to go after in those elements too. So take a look at some of those on-page elements that Jessica mentioned in her strategies, and you will find you might see some consistency there where they're going after particular terms.
Another good thing to look at from that perspective is if they're doing any paid advertising, maybe through Google AdWords. If you look at, the ads that are showing up, those keywords that are worked into the titles and the descriptions there are, usually good ones to go after.
Absolutely. That's good in general, whether they're your competitors or not, to take a look at the AdWords and see, because they do a lot of testing within AdWords, and you can see some consistencies there to know what would be performing well, and you can utilize those in your title tags as well. Okay, moving along to question number 2. What is a website conversion and why is it important?
So a website conversion is essentially whatever you want it to be. So it could be someone signing up for your email newsletter. It could be someone requesting a quote. It could be whatever your goal is for what you want someone to do on your website. Whenever they do that action, that's a conversion. So it will vary from business to business, but it's essentially, when people take the action you want them to take on your site. And that's important because really the whole reason you want to have a website is to generate business, essentially. So you want to make sure that your goals and what you have your conversion set up as on your website kind of align with what your business goals are.
Great. And I do have a couple other additional questions. How do you know if you've added too many keywords to a page? I think you touched on that in one of your strategies, that with interlinking at least. But how, what about too many keywords?
So there's no specific guidelines or a specific number of uses of a keyword that indicate when you've used too many. And actually that's part of what makes SEO challenging, is you're kind of walking a fine line and you don't really know what that line is. But my kind of rule of thumb is if you think you've used a keyword too many times on a page, then you probably have. So keep in mind also that you can use synonyms, you can use similar words to explain things, so you don't only have to use the keyword you're targeting within a page. The search engines are smarter than a lot of people think, so using related terms is actually a good thing, and they understand synonyms, so they look for that as well. And to avoid keyword stuffing when I'm optimizing, I like to review the content that I'm working on to make sure it feels natural and that it reads in a way that feels normal for readers. So if you feel yourself reading the same word or phrase over and over again within the content, it's probably a good idea to make some changes because you're probably overstuffing.
Perfect. Good. And with all the different tactics that you're mentioning, especially from a foundational SEO standpoint, what would you say is the biggest bang for your buck thing that someone can do?
That's a good one. So from my perspective, I think the two biggest things that you want to make sure you have implemented are HTTPS and mobile responsiveness. So the two things we talked about, right at the beginning. And as I mentioned before, without those two things, your site is likely going to struggle from an SEO perspective, even if you have lots of those other elements in place. Aside from that, the steps you can take on your unique site will probably vary. So the answer to this question of the biggest bang for your buck investment will probably vary as well. I think the best thing you can do to start with is probably to do an audit of your site and put together a list of the things we discussed today that maybe are missing or could be improved on your site. And for many organizations, hiring an organization like ours to review the site and put together a blueprint of SEO action items is a good place to start and a good investment to make if you're trying to get the most for your money when it comes to SEO.
Great. Great. And I'll add on one additional thing. I think a great rule of thumb is to think about, is the user getting what they want out of your site? Are they finding the information in a simple and easy way? Are they able to know what to do on your site? Are they easily able to know what business you're in after 5 seconds of coming to your site? Because really the search engines want to deliver the best result for their user.
Right.
So they want to take into factor, is the user having a great experience? And if you start there, I think that's the best place to begin.
Definitely. Yeah, at this point, it really is all about the user experience. So if you come across something on your site that you think is really impeding that user experience, that's probably a good bang for your buck place to start.
Yeah, great. Well, no other questions have come in, so I think we are good to wrap. Thank you everyone for attending the event, and again, that recording will be sent via email within the week to all the attendees, and if you weren't able to make it, you will be getting a copy of this as well. So thank you.
Thanks for joining us.